One of the problems we have to deal with as leftists is intersectionalism and ID politics. Now, a lot of people are very defensive of intersectionalism and IDpol, whose literally only argument is that if you ignore it, you're therefore racist, sexist, homophobic, etc. Because in their own completely dishonest mind, they don't understand that other people could have a different plan to get rid of these oppressions. So, therefore, if you choose another path to the same goal, you're basically a rightist. Now, if you're a liberal, then IDpol and intersectionalism makes perfect sense to you because they are things that do defend capitalism. And they are things that are being pushed by the bourgeoisie for that very reason. We, however, are Marxists, and we are supposed to stick with dialectical materialism. Materialism, that thing that has completely gone out the window of first worldism. We also understand contradictions in society. I mean, it's not like Marx, Stalin, Lenin, and Mao wrote about contradictions in society. Now, the difference is they don't seem to understand that there is a primary and secondary contradiction. Now, for the sake of making things easier for people to understand and giving them less of a reason to completely shout reactionary things at me, we're going to do this from the first worldist perspective. So we're going to pretend that imperialism doesn't exist. You will not solve anything until capitalism is abolished. Now, they call this class reductionism, which is a way of saying you're not choosing our liberal path, because that is the point of intersectionalism. That is the point of IDpol, is to raise everything to the same level of importance. This is also known as anarchism. You will not get rid of oppressions until socialism has been achieved. And you will not achieve socialism until you deal with class. So, as much to their chagrin to hear this, yes, class actually is more important, because you have to build the society that gets rid of oppressions before you can get rid of the oppressions. To which they would respond, no, you can do everything all at the same time, which is anarchism, which literally doesn't work. And all history has shown us does not work. And their response is to just scream transphobia, homophobia, sexism, etc., because they don't have a rational argument to explain how they're going to get rid of homophobia, sexism, etc., under a system which doesn't promote equality. That's kind of the point of capitalism. It's opposed to the idea of equality. So thinking you're going to get these other equalities under a system of inequality is frankly just stupid. So it actually is more important to understand contradiction than to push liberal intersectionalism. One leads to liberation, the other doesn't. That's why there's a differentiation between the two things, why they're two different theories, and why intersectionalism is not revolutionary. It's just liberal IDpol. Now, I know that's very hard for some people to understand because they're so used to just screaming X-phobic at absolutely everyone who disagrees with them, rather than coming up with a very rational argument, because they cannot understand that somebody may have a different idea of how to get to the same goal of liberation, or that that idea could possibly be better. So rather than dealing with the argument of why understanding contradiction and dialectics is better than intersectionalism, they just scream X-phobic at you, because they're wholly dishonest and their identity is tied to being a quote-unquote revolutionary, rather than scientifically understanding the path to liberation. And that's the main point I want to get. And some people will claim that IDpol doesn't divide the left. Exactly what world are you living in? IDpol very much does divide the left. There are people who are sick and tired of everyone just screaming X-phobic at someone when they're trying to organize a party. Now, I would question the validity of organizing in the first world, etc., but for the sake of argument, we're going to ignore that. The Communist Party of Australia split over IDpol. The CPGBML had a problem with IDpol because it was wrecking what they were doing. The Workers' World Party is having a problem with IDpol and is causing a split. The Party of Communist USA split over that very issue. So for someone to claim that IDpol does not divide the left is absolutely ridiculous, because it literally is right there in front of their faces. To claim that none of these things happened is nothing short of tremendous dishonesty. IDpol is pushed by the mainstream bourgeois ideology. It's even held by the Democratic Party. Let me explain something to you. If the bourgeoisie are willing to give it to you, it's not revolutionary. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute, okay? Understand that. So when you're going after the Andrew Yang bucks, which is potentially possible, it's not revolutionary. When you go after IDpol and the system is already offering that up in at least sections of the Democratic Party, it's not revolutionary. When you ask for social democratic reforms that are already being pushed by huge names in the Democratic Party, it's not revolutionary. Free schooling is not revolutionary, but pushing for it is not revolutionary, because we are very much on the path in the United States is very much on the path to getting it anyway. And so is increased welfare and a universal healthcare system. I mean, the universal healthcare system isn't even unique to socialism. Any country that's basically not too poor to afford it, or if can afford it and is not morally and intellectually bankrupt, can afford it. Pushing for universal health care is not revolutionary, because the system is willing to offer it to you, as we can see from the Democratic Party. A $15 minimum wage is not revolutionary, because there's a tremendous mainstream bourgeois movement that's pushing for it. Now, I know the accusation you're going to make. Yeah, but it would be really nice to not have to live through all of the poverty and misery that does come with living in the first world. And there is poverty and misery in the first world. There's no denying that. I've never denied that, nor has any third world has ever denied that. But you see, in lies the point. First worlders are willing to push for those reforms instead of doing revolution. Yeah, but it really sucks here. We need some things to fix it. So you push towards the social democratic reforms rather than revolution, which is the point that I've been trying to make and other third worlders have been trying to make since the beginning. But aside from this tangent about first worldism versus third worldism, it's pretty clear that IDpol is not only, and intersectionalism is not only not revolutionary, it's pushed by the mainstream, even so far as the Democratic Party. To claim that IDpol has not divided the left is absolutely wrong, and you are nothing short of either delusional or a liar to claim that it has. We do need to get rid of this. There is a reason why you can criticize all the phobias except criticizing class, because you're not allowed to do that. That is verboten. That's what you can't do, because that's what the system is based upon. The system perpetuates these other problems, homophobia, sexism, etc. So think about that the next time you run around trying to claim that IDpol doesn't divide the left.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.